On a breakaway, scores!
Big hit at the blue line.
And he got waffle-boarded. What a save!
He shoots, he scores.
Drives in, score!
This is the Six Hockey.
Welcome back to the Six Hockey for game number 2 between the Vaughan Kings and the Toronto Marlboros in the U16 AAA GTHL season. I'm Sammy Brzezowski, joined alongside Simon Hendricks.
Sammy, this should be a great game. Game 1 was honestly one of the more entertaining games that we've seen all season. Incredibly eventful. So many penalties, especially in those first and second periods. Third period did calm down a little bit. I'm expecting a bit more disciplined play in this one, but two very fast, very skilled teams. Should be a great game too.
It's the Kings going into this game, leading the series 1-0, but the Marlboros, we've seen them come back in a plethora of games this year. What do you think they need to do in order to do so?
Well, they really kind of played towards the Vaughan Kings style last game. It was a lot more of a physical game, which the Vaughan Kings do like to do. The Marlboros, they aren't as much of a physical team. And obviously with those penalties being taken by both sides in that game 1, I think the Marlboros the Kings made the Marlboros play their style of hockey. And I think if the Marlboros can just get to their game plan a little bit quicker in this one, it's going to really benefit their success.
Well, we do see both teams changing up the goaltenders in this one. Let's take a look at those right now. For the Toronto Marlboros, it'll be Nolan Hardy getting the start. And for the Vaughan Kings, it'll be Dmitry Stokes.
Yeah, and we made a point on the last broadcast to mention how well that both Liam Cochran and Igor Sokolov played in Game 1. Both teams switching it up. Nolan Hardy was the number 1 starter for the Marlboros all throughout the season. He was kind of like the guy for the whole year. Interested to see how he's going to perform in the first game. And honestly, a bit of a must-win game for the Marlboros. You really don't want to go down 2-0 to a team like the Vaughan Kings. And same with Stokes. He was kind of like the number 1 goalie for the Kings all year this year. Both quote-unquote number 1 options in net for both these teams today.
Yeah, and the good thing with these teams is they have 2 guys on each team that can be number 1 guys. I'm sure we'll mention it all throughout this series. But let's take a look at our players to watch for today's Game 2 matchup. For the Toronto Marlboros, you have Braden Riley.
I do indeed, and he really does remind me of a player like Mitch Marner. He's an incredible playmaker, and he carries it through the neutral zone and offensive zone to set up his teammates. You know, Miles, the other Riley, he's on his line. They play off each other so incredibly well, and they are really able to do that with just how well they're able to move the puck, especially. And for the Kings, it would be Landon Rolston. He just is a complete player, especially on the offensive side. He's incredibly fast, and of course, he has a great shot as well. That's why we've kind of compared him to the likes of a Brock Besser type player, someone who you don't maybe notice as much for a full 60 minutes. However, those few shifts that he has, he's the best player on the ice without a question.
Well, let's see if he can be an impact in tonight's game. Let's head over to the ice. Welcome to the Quench Center Etobicoke rink number 4 for the GTHL U16 AAA Semifinals, game number 2 between the Toronto Marlboros and the Vaughan Kings. I'm Sammy Brzezowski, joined alongside Simon Hendricks. Just like we said, in game number 1, we will see a goalie switch for both teams. It'll be Dmitry Stokes getting the start for the Vaughan Kings. It was Cochran in net the other game, and Hardy replacing Sokolov after the Game 1 loss. That's right, the Vaughan Kings up 1-0 going into game number 2. Simon, Game 1 was very eventful, lots of penalties, some great goals to boot. Are you excited for this one?
Of course I'm excited for this one. I think if you watched Game 1 and you're a true hockey fan, even a casual hockey fan, you'd be excited for this game. We did say in our previous broadcast of Game 1, surprising choice from the coaches to go with both backups. This game and Game 2 got both Day 1 starters in Dmitry Stokes and Nolan Hardy for their respective teams. And we talked about it. Liam Cochran, he's our 3rd star of the game in Game 1 on our last episode. And Igor Sokolov, he stood on his head the entire game, only allowing 2 goals, making some fantastic saves. But if you're Nolan Hardy and the Marlboros, you have to think in a 5-game series going down 2-0 against a team like the Vaughan Kings, this is as much of a must-win game as you can get.
It is, and like we were talking about with the Junior Canadian Series, having that thought in the back of your mind that you could lose and be 1 game away from elimination, that provides some incentive to start on time. As it's the refs who didn't start on time there, we saw an icing call waved off. That's why we had the center off face-off.
Well, you know, I'm interested to see if the Marlboros will start on time, because it would be one more team named Toronto dressed in blue and white that will start on time for big games.
All right, as Watt has it as, at the top of the circle, fires that one, hits off a stick and goes out of play. I love the viewer that the arena has this little gallery for the people to stay in the warm, maybe grab a beer, grab a coffee, and watch some scintillating ice hockey.
You know what? I always did enjoy a good viewing area, especially up top. You know, you always see the viewing area kind of down low, near just kind of behind the board area in a different room. I love the up top view. You get a really nice bird's eye view of all the action.
As it's Mavru collecting the puck behind the Marlboros net. Mavru, we talked about being one of the forces on defense for the Marlboros so far this season as Pacek. He gets that one over to Cameron. Cameron can't receive it cleanly. Elaine forechecking for the Kings. He gets a piece of it. Tries to get it through the neutral zone, but good back checking there from Cameron to keep it in the zone. Pacek in the slot. Pacek trying to fire one, but that is good defending from Gianluca McClure. In the corner now, the Marlboros fire this one on net. Cameron picking up the rebound. Cameron on the far side boards. He gets it over to the point. Walking the line now, getting it down low. A shot in front off a pad of Stokes as that's received by Challenger in the corner. Kept in by Mavru. Mavru trying to throw it over to Cameron, but it's the Vaughan Kings getting it out almost as that's intercepted by Challenger. Challenger trying to get that one across the line. Dumped back in by number 21, Christian Sasulo, as both teams will go for a change. Some early forecheck here from the Toronto Marlboros as it's dropped down low. A chance in front, and great save there by Stokes after a nasty turnover. Braden Riley almost picking up the first goal of this game for the Toronto Marlboros. The Vaughan Kings certainly have not started on time so far.
My goodness, what a save that was from Stokes. Hey, welcome to the series, kid. Just a fantastic first save of the series, saving the Kings from going down 1-0 early.
As it's the Marlboros gathering it back in their own zone. In the corner, that one is passed through the neutral zone. A chance now here for Lavolsi. Lavolsi just misses that one in the slot, was trying to cut into the middle, as now maybe a chance for the Vaughan Kings. Fitzgerald, his stick was tied up behind him. And an arm is up. The first power play of the game will go to the Toronto Marlboros after Fitzgerald. He didn't get that chance at the blue line. He hooked his man coming in on the forecheck. Not the penalty you want to take in the offensive zone to start the game.
Yeah, honestly, Sammy, at first I thought this penalty was going up against the Marlboros. I thought maybe the defenseman was holding the stick of Fitzgerald. That's why he didn't get as much, I guess, possession of the puck as he would have liked. But just a little bit too aggressive coming off of the puck there, and leads to another early penalty to start the first.
As it's Miles Riley taking the faceoff, he wins it back to LeCastro. LeCastro surveying his options at the blue line. Over to Riley. Back down to Braden. Braden in front for Roche. Scores! Shane Roche opens up the scoring just seconds into the power play, and the Marlboros take an early 1-0 lead.
Man, what a play from the Marlboros. Hey, how about a breakaway off of bad turnover, and then right after that, you get an early power play goal. Vaughan Kings definitely taken aback. Marlboros, they only scored one goal in the entire game in Game 1. Now you're already up 1-0, and you're seeming like you're setting the pace of play early in the first period. I think this Vaughan Kings team, they're a bit taken aback here. A bad penalty from Fitzgerald, a bit of an undisciplined play, trying to be a bit too aggressive. And the Marlboros, they take advantage. What a pass from Braden Riley as well. Shane Roche, wide open net. I'm excited to see, like, that Braden Riley, Miles Riley, Shane Roche, that power play unit's on there all the time for a reason. And now it's up to the Kings to respond.
Well, I'm sure I've mentioned it on other broadcasts, but Shane Roche, he did score the first goal of the season in a very similar manner. He just kind of cut into the zone. He sneakily entered, I believe was the term I used when we called that game, and just was there at the back post, scored a very similar goal. As the Kings have a chance to respond, that one's stopped by Hardy, his first real save of this game. As now it's the Marlboros breaking in the other way. It's dumped down low into the corner behind Stokes. A battle ensues behind the net. Pops out to number 2, Adrian Skro. Skro was looking to get that one up through the neutral zone. Was intercepted by Mavru. On the far side boards, that one is dumped in for Quinn. Quinn trying to play it in the corner, but it's the Vaughan Kings that regain possession in their own end. The Kings looking to get something started here. Cabral, the main forechecker here for the Kings, is going back to find it, is Mavru. Mavru battling on the near side boards. You're just going to have to trust us on that one. As it pops out to the slot. A chance there was developing for Landon Keefe. Keefe couldn't get the shot off as this puck is sent down the length of the ice, waved off by the ref. So Jansen will be forced to crawl back into his own zone. Dumped in now for the Kings behind Hardy's net. Sent around to Cabral, turnover there. Centering pass in front, great save by Hardy, rebound! And he just gets a piece of that one off the stick of Keefe. Keefe with multiple chances on the shift alone as it's the Marlboros getting it out of their zone and taking themselves out of trouble.
My goodness, what a fantastic chance for the Kings to tie that one up. A bit of a, I guess, an unerrant pass there from the defenseman to ring it around. I think he was trying to find number 44, Will Cameron, on the far side, intercepted by Keefe. And another great chance for the Marlboros there in the slot.
As now a battle ensues in the corner. There's two Marlboros in down deep there. Going there to help was number 7, Sebastian Fortin for the Kings. Fortin, he hits this one off the boards and a whistle on the play here. And it'll be a face-off inside for the Marlboros.
And of course that Riley-Lavolsi line coming right back onto the ice for this offensive zone face-off. Just a really quick point I want to make coming off of that power play goal. This Riley connection is very, very good. They're able to draw so much attention to themselves whenever they have the puck, not only for their shooting ability, but for their playmaking ability as well. You saw in that power play, Braden Riley, right beside the net, was able to draw a ton of attention his way, leading to a wide open Shane Roche for an easy tap in. That's the magic that this line can do, not only on the power play, but also 5-on-5.
As I must mention that Jaden Challenger, number 84 for the Toronto Marlboros, he is a U15 call-up for this game. I would assume, I'm not making any huge declarations here, I would assume related to former Rangers player Tyler Challenger, who's now killing it in junior hockey as the centering pass there goes all the way down back into the Marlboro zone. Roche, the goal scorer, he's battling alongside Brown. Tries to get it up for Lavolsi on the far side boards. That's turned over as Fitzgerald collects it at the blue line. Fitzgerald just losing that one as he tried to enter the zone. Bringing it in now, it's Braden Riley. Riley getting it over to Miles. Miles trying to cut through, but that's intercepted by Nelson. Nelson rimming it around. The Kings trying to break through the neutral zone. Rolston cutting towards the net. Rolston fires that one off the pad of Hardy. Pops out in front, but the Marlboros, they get a piece of that one. It'll be a face-off inside the zone. Apologies for the camera work. So what I believe on these automatic cameras, it tracks a lot by sound.
Yeah,
so
that's a fair assumption.
If you got loud benches, which you will in the playoffs, you've got a lot of players banging their stick. You just see Pacek doing it there. Sometimes the camera's like, let's take a look at that, even though it doesn't have much to do with the ice time.
That's a very fair shout, Sammy. I think you're 100% right. They should get you down there as a cameraman. I'm sure you do a better job than the robots. People say AI is going to take over. I think this is Exhibit A proof that they're not there just yet.
Yeah, maybe Sammy's going to take over. As another way you can tell that Challenger is a call-up, if you look at everyone's helmets, they got those racing stripes. Tradition in the GTHL playoffs is that was fired onto net by Warner. Challenger is the only Marlboros player that doesn't have the tape on his helmet. You can see that blue chrome dome there is Menery. He walks it in, firing that one off the pad of Hardy. As walking in now is Warner. Warner coming in. He does have Herbert down low as he falls in the corner on the far side boards. It went under his leg, so a battle ensued. That one's fired back out of the zone to Caputo. Caputo trying to fire that one up. Ref gets in the way as the Kings. They try to send this one through the neutral zone. Cabral was the man open, just missed his stick. As coming through now is Caputo the other way. Stifled at the blue line as here come the Kings. Rubbed off the puck as now the Marlboros will look to get a breakout started. A lot of long stretch passes early in this game as Jansen, he tried to get that one out of the blue line. Good forechecking from Toronto.
Yeah, since that last good chance from the Kings, this game has really turned into some stretch passes that have been easily intercepted at the blue line. Both teams struggling for offensive momentum.
As it pops out at the point, Hardy saves that one. It trickles out, a rebound in front, and a traffic jam, as Simon loves to say, as the Marlboros, they get out of trouble once more. That's dumped in for Pacek behind the net of Stokes. Going to play that one was Fortin. On the near side boards here. Fortin, he rims that one around. It's kept in briefly by the Marlboros, but the Kings, they do get it out in the corner. Circling around now. Brown with it in the corner. Brown trying to find the centering pass, Fitzgerald, but that one was deflected as Brown is knocked down behind the play. No call there. Dumped back in by Nelson. Nelson trying to find his man behind the net. Once again, very interested in what's going on at the bench. As getting it out are the Marlboros. That's intercepted at the blue line. Walking it in now is Nelson. Nelson, he fires this one around Ashcroft. Nelson, he has Brown in front. Brown, centering pass for Cloutier, scores! Kane Cloutier, who else but him, ties it up at 1.
You know, the past couple minutes, it was all Vaughan Kings in the offensive zone, some bad neutral zone turnovers for the Marlboros, and you just thought that one was a matter of time given their momentum that they had. I just want to correct you, the term I like to use is fire drill, not traffic jam. So, you know, just some verbiage mix up there. But like we said, after that 1-0 goal, Vaughan Kings may have been taken aback a little bit, but I think that took that first goal to really get their legs underneath them, and since then it's been all Vaughan Kings.
And let me ask you, Simon, it's 1-1 now in the first period. A lot of coaches like to just say, once it's tied, especially early, you treat it as a 0-0 game.
First of all, what a fantastic hit there in the corner from the Kings. My goodness. But to your point, Sammy, I think, you know, last game, if we remember, was 1-1 early in the first period as well, almost at the same time, and it took until I think it was 5 or 4 minutes left in the third period for the Vaughan Kings to break the game with that game winner from Kane Cloutier by a score of 2-1. That second goal for the Kings ended up being the game winner. So we could see something similar. This game has not been as physical or as undisciplined as Game 1 has been. Only the one power play opportunity so far for the Marlboros through the first half of this first period. However, I think if you're both teams, I don't know if you can really expect another game, the second game in a row, to go 2.5 periods without a goal being scored.
As it was Riley clipped at the top of the circle there. Kept in by number 10, Jaden LaCastro, as Vaughan is regrouping in their own zone. A pass through the middle now. Walking it in is Menery. Menery for Rolston. Rolston, he can't collect that one. And here come the Marlboros the other way, a 2-on-1 forming. It's Lavolsi and Riley. Riley to Lavolsi. That one goes wide off the pad of Stokes. And now the Vaughan Kings, they break out the other way. Stokes, a good start to this game after allowing that game's first goal. As down low, it's the Marlboros regrouping. Sent off a stick, no ice on the play, all the way around the net of Stokes. The Kings carrying it up through the neutral zone after a Marlboros change. Elaine trying to get that one through for Fortin as he fires that one. And that one hit off the glove of Hardy into the corner. And a whistle on the play, a deflection as it went out of play. It'll be a face-off inside the Marlboros zone. You don't see Fortin jumping to join the rush too often. But that was a great pass from Presley Elaine.
No, you don't. And I feel like that's a bit of a distinction with this Vaughan Kings team opposed to the Marlboros or even other teams like the Majors or even the Don Mills Flyers. We saw it a lot. Their defensemen, they do tend to stick back and not join the rush as much. I think that's more of a credit to just how gifted their offensive talent, their forward talent is, I should say, rather than, I guess, an insult to their defense, for lack of a better term. But yeah, like you said, Fortin, he did a great job there jumping up into the rush and maybe, you know, using the Marlboros' aggressiveness in those stress passes against them, trying to overload them with a lot of pressure, which did lead to your first goal. So clearly it's a strategy they might look to employ some more.
As it's a face-off inside the Marlboros zone, won by Toronto. Sent across, trying to find Warner as Fortin, he couldn't keep it in. He sends it back over to Scrow. Scrow dumps that one back in to regroup. Cloutier, he finds his man in the corner in a lane as the Marlboros, they break through the neutral zone. Walking it in was number 14, Mason Quinn. Quinn, he couldn't get it all the way in the zone, so a battle on the far side boards ensues. Roche, he goes back to regroup in his own zone. Good forechecking here from Elaine. Presley Elaine battling a much bigger Shane Roche as it's the Kings that receive possession. A shot there was deflected away by Hardy as a centering pass opportunity was attempted, but no one there to receive.
Yet again, we're seeing the aggressiveness of this Vaughan Kings forecheck really get into the play structure of the Marlboros defense. No call on the play there. Wow.
As Fortin was knocked down in the neutral zone, an arm was up, but I believe it's only for offside.
Yes, the linesman's arm was up. I was looking at the yellow stripe in the corner. No call on there. Wow, that is, I thought a stick got in there for sure. Maybe just blew a tire. Refs might have a better vantage point than us on this AI cam here. But just to finish off my previous thought, the Vaughan Kings, ever since that first goal, they've been pressuring the defensemen of the Marlboros in their own zone. We see the Marlboros almost try to cheat the blue line a little bit in their breakouts, especially going up through the neutral zone. Shane Ross was trying to be a little bit too cute with that one, leading to a pretty decent chance for the Vaughan Kings there.
As it's the Marlboros who are way offside, Cameron was forced to get out of the zone quickly. As it's the Kings dumping it in now. The Cloutier line back on, of course, joined alongside Brody Brown. Brown has been an excellent playmaker throughout this playoffs. As circling back around for the Marlboros is Casulo. He sent it over to Cameron on the near side boards. Cameron, he finds Pocek. Pocek trying to pass it through the slot and jumping to catch that one was Mavru, as Mavru fires that one off of Vaughan King's body as another chance in front. Cameron tried to fire that one as soon as he got it, but it was just missed the net wide as the Kings, they break out the other way. Carrying it in now is Brown. Brown firing this one over the net of Hardy. Fitzgerald back to Brown in the corner. Brown knocked down, and Brown, he goes down. He will be down for quite a while, folks. We will quickly jump ahead, as it was Brody Brown who went down for quite some time in this one. He was carried off, not by a stretcher, but by a couple of Vaughan Kings, including Landon Rolston in the corner. Brown looking like he would not return in this one. A scary collision. 3 Marlboros in the corner. A lot of time has passed, and we hope the best for Brody Brown.
Yeah, that's never, ever good to see, no matter the situation, no matter the player. And it looked like the Marlboros, maybe some miscommunication there. They left the front of the net almost wide open. 3 Marlboros defensemen, or 3 Marlboros players, I should say, going to hit Brody Brown in the corner there. It looked like all 3 of them got him in the numbers, and he just kind of stumbles head-first, collision into the boards. Never, ever good to see.
And Simon, I got to ask, if you're the Vaughan Kings, you see one of your players in Brody Brown go down, and it was not a pretty sight. He was down for quite a while. He basically passed out on the ice. There was no call on the play. How do you kind of collect yourself, get yourself back into this game, knowing your teammate is in a lot of pain?
It's tough, man. It really is. Luckily, in my hockey playing career, I've never had to experience something like that. I know I never really played at a high level, and all the injuries were, pretty easy to walk off a fair bit. But, it's really tough. And I think some teams, they can maybe fold under that certain sight, I guess, and fold under that certain pressure. But other teams, they can use that to inspire them. And obviously, it kind of takes you out of the game a little bit. You're thinking about Brody Brown, but we still have more than 2/3 of this game to play. I don't think you can let it affect them too much. I think give it a couple shifts and both of these teams will be ready to go again.
Of course, we wish nothing but the best for Brown, as it was a face-off outside. They blew the whistle because of the injury. There was a couple of extracurriculars going on in the corner as Riley had an opportunity there. And so that's why he wasn't attended to right away. But a scary, scary sight as we are back in the first period. The game does go on as it's dumped over for Lavolsi on the far side boards. Lavolsi cutting towards net. Lavolsi fires that one. Stokes gets a piece as Watt controls it behind the net. He's knocked off the puck. The Marlboros with an opportunity on the one-timer, and Braden Riley fires that one, just hits the pad of Stokes. And this Riley connection, we talk about it a lot, but they seem to be on another level tonight.
They certainly do. That's a couple nice passes between the two there. It almost looked like Braden Riley, he was almost too vocal. He was slapping his stick looks like as hard as he could there, trying to get the attention of Miles, and it almost seemed like that kind of gave away his positioning to Stokes. That was a fantastic save, but maybe on that one you don't try to call for the pass as much. It looks like there's maybe a timeout being called here.
It is the Vaughan Kings who called a timeout to recollect themselves. Apologies for the colorful language we may hear on this. We do have the ears to the ground a little bit on this one. Like I said, it tracks the audio, so a loud speech here from the Vaughan Kings coach. Just trying to get his boys back into the game because, of course, it's very hard to collect yourself, as it'll be the Cloutier, Fitzgerald, Elaine line headed out for the Kings to try to jumpstart their game.
And you know what? I really do like that timeout call. That's very good coaching there. You see your team's a little bit caught off guard. The mind space isn't there after that scary injury to throw you around, but a very good timeout there used by coach.
As Roche tried to fire that one, hit off of Elaine's legs and kept in the zone. Behind the net now with it are the Marlboros. In the corner with it, the Marlboros. Good cycling here. Good puck movement as they gather it in the corner on the far side boards. As now the Kings, they break the other way. A 3-on-2 here forming for the Kings. Fitzgerald open, calling for it. It drops over to the slot. Backhand opportunity for Fitzgerald. And traffic in front, not able to cover that one was Hardy, but he did make the initial save as the Marlboros, they do dump it down the length of the ice. Didn't get all the way there, so no icing. Again, it is no-touch icing nonetheless, so if it got there, it would have been a face-off inside their zone, as now it's the Kings breaking the other way. Fitzgerald drops that one at the top of the circle, and Hardy, he blocks that one aside into the corner. The Marlboros looking to get it out of their own zone, unable to do so. Fitzgerald, he dumps that one down low into the corner on the far side boards. Roche, he defends this one as he collects it behind the net of Hardy to start the breakout. A long stretch pass that's intercepted, but only for a moment as Warner, he tried to fight off Fortin, wasn't able to do so as a battle ensues right by the benches. The one time we want to see all the benches, we don't, as Cloutier gets it off the far side boards.
Oh man, a little cross check there in front of the Marlboros bench.
As that's fired onto Hardy, jumps out in front. Big rebounds from the Marlboros in this game. They do get the whistle to be a face-off inside. And yeah, let's just look at the Vaughan Kings' reaction to this, because it is a good offensive opportunity for them.
I think, speaking of the audio, I think there is some frustration from the Kings. That was number 8, Michael Warner of the Marlboros, giving a couple Vaughan Kings players some cross-checks in front of their bench as he was going off for a change. Looks like the refs saw that. Maybe the Kings coach giving them a little lip, wondering why there's no call there. But some discussion from the ref and the Kings nonetheless.
As it popped out to the point, and a shot there from Eric Jansen was stopped, swallowed up by Hardy. And the Vaughan Kings coach, their voice, they do travel.
They do travel.
As it will be another face-off inside for them, the Vaughan Kings. They've turned up the offense a little bit since that injury, since that timeout. So definitely, like you said, maybe the smart play.
Something I just want to quickly point to, speaking of the no-touch icing, that can benefit some teams and that can hurt some teams as well. A lot of teams in the GTHL division, they get most of their offense off of the rush, as that's called an offside there. That which will allow me to finish my point, actually, so I'm actually a little bit glad that happened. But a lot of these GTHL teams, they do get a lot of their offense off of rush chances. Teams like the Domino's Flyers, teams like the Markham Majors, even teams like the Junior Canadians, best team in the division, they get a lot of their opportunities from the rush and how they're able to use their speed. The Vaughan Kings, a bulk of their offense do not come off the rush. Most of their offense comes from consistent offensive pressure like we've already seen so far this game's, and their incredible use to draw penalties and to get power play goals as well. So on one hand, you might be thinking, well, they get a rush chance. Well, that's always a good thing. But for the Vaughan Kings, these icing calls that lead to offensive zone faceoffs are crucial for their game plan.
As we are in an eerily similar situation to the first goal, it is Miles Riley, once again with Braden and Roshan LeCastro at the point. On the far side boards now, it's the Vaughan Kings trying to collect. That was Liam Nelson rimming it around. On the near side boards, the Marlboros, they collected it for a moment. But the Vaughan Kings, they regained possession in the neutral zone. Dumped down low by Menery. Menery, he was trying to find Rolston as Rolston making sure that puck is covered. And Landon Rolston, Jaden LeCastro going after it. After the play, it'll be a face-off inside the Marlboro zone once more. I will say Hardy, he has played very well, but there's been a lot of juicy rebounds early in this game.
There certainly has. The rebound control maybe is not where the Marlboros or Hardy would like it to be. However, he has responded to them well. His defense is playing pretty good in front of them, being able to clear those rebounds out in front of the net, playing physical in front of him, which is not what we saw in that game against Sokolov. He was very good at limiting that rebound opportunities, and just a couple of shots squeaked past him, especially that Kane Cloutier goal in the third period of Game 1. But like we said, both teams are playing pretty decently in front of their goaltenders in this one.
This face-off is won by Rolston. To the point, shot there, deflected away by Hardy. Nice save to hit that one into the corner. A battle right by the referee down low as it's Warner with it. Warner looking for the long stretch pass as that pops out to the Marlboros. A battle on the far side boards, and it's the Kings receiving possession. That one dumped down the length of the ice, and that one will indeed be an icing as retreating back was Charlie Ashcroft. Pardon me, Connor Ashcroft, brother of Charlie Ashcroft.
I think if there is a counter of how many times that's happened this season, I think we're up to 6 or 7. I actually did not mean to say what I said, but I think it is 6 or 7.
It is interesting how many siblings run through this league. I did mention Charlie Ashcroft. Of course, we have Clarence Elaine, brother of Presley Elaine, who's on the Kings right now. Then I'm sure I've called Cash Kawaja, Jet Kawaja at some points. It's too much talent in the GTHL families. It screws up the commentating as walking it in is Mavra. Nice move in the neutral zone. There will be a whistle on the play as it's the end of the period. So invested in the nice move through the neutral zone for Maximus Mavru that we didn't even notice the clock ticking down. So end of the first period, 1-1. A pretty eventful period. We saw 2 goals. We saw a handful of opportunities off the stick of the Vaughan Kings. We did see an injury in Brody Brown going down. Simon, what did you think of this first frame?
I think that first frame looked a lot like this third period of Game 1, where it was the Marlboros taking a lot of possession to start the game, and then the Vaughan Kings responding near the end, obviously getting the equalizer about halfway through that first period. I think all 4 of these periods have gone a similar fashion where it's about 5 to 7 minute spurts of one team having control of the game, and then the other 5-7 minute spurt of the other team having control of the game. A lot of back and forth chances, obviously, but you saw later in the stages of that first period, the Vaughan Kings really did take control of this game, and some neutral zone turnovers from both teams, especially the Marlboros. Marlboros, like we said before, trying to utilize those stretch passes from their own zone to headman just above their half of the red line. Those aren't really working, and I think that's because the Vaughan Kings are positioning themselves well at their own defensive blue line. Maybe the Marlboros have to switch up some strategy. We saw them try to carry it in a bit more in the later stages of that first period, and to see if they will take that.
As it's the Marlboros winning the opening the Kings winning the opening face-off of the second period. As going to rush that one ahead was Watt. He advanced that puck off to the blue line, dumping that one down low. Hardy down to play it behind his net. Ashcroft, he goes to retreat. Ashcroft being pressured by Elaine. He threw that one up towards the blue line. Walking it in now through the neutral zone are the Kings. That was Scrow getting a piece of it for Cloutier. Cloutier trying to cut through the middle at the top of the circle was not successful in doing so. As Cloutier, he battles in the corner. Cloutier trying to find Scrow, and that one will go out of play. The referees quickly discussing where the faceoff will be. It looks like it will be inside the zone of the Marlboros. An offensive faceoff here for the Rolston, Menery, Pagani line. We've seen these guys connect quite a bit in the playoffs, of course. Pagani, he had 4 goals in the quarterfinals series, and he just looked unstoppable.
He did, and we can't forget Kane Cloutier. He did score the game winner off of a face-off win for the Marlboros in the previous game. Game 1 off of just a wicked shot above the circle. This line is always, always dangerous.
As it's Pagani on the far side boards, as Warner, he wins that one up. Dumped in by Quinn on net. Stokes, he got a piece of that one, kind of lost it there for a second as it pops out for the Kings. Walking it in now is Rolston. Rolston cutting towards the net. Rolston fires that one for the rebound, and he picks it up in the corner, being battled alongside a couple Marlboros as they regain possession in their own zone. Walking it in now is Warner. Warner trying to find a chance at the point. Pops out to Quinn. Quinn fires that one off the pad of Stokes. Circling back around is Jansen. Jansen, he got that one to the corner. Kept in by the Marlboros and Casulo at the point, but only for a moment. As with it now is Pagani. Pagani, he'll dump this one in on net of Hardy as the Kings, they go for a change to the Cabral line on now for them. As a collision at the blue line, offside seems to be the call, as it'll be a face-off just outside the Kings zone as we see the pairing of LeCastro and number 16 Joshua Caputo come out. And no, it'll be a face-off inside the
Interesting
Marlboros
call.
zone.
Very interesting call there.
Determining that as an intentional offside were the referees. Not 100% sure about that call, as that face-off is won to the side by McClure. The Kings battling. A chance in the slot. That one backhanded over the net of Hardy. Another opportunity as the whistle is blown there. Trigger happy on these whistles, the referees.
I was just going to say, I'm actually not too sure what the call was there. Do we have a penalty on the play?
There is a lot of discussion here. The net being fixed, so I believe the net just came off its pegs a little bit. It'll be another face-off inside, saying that the Kings weren't the main aggressors in knocking that net off. Of course, it would be outside the zone if that was the case. McClure, he won that one forward, but it's the Marlboros regaining possession in their own end. Lavolsi, he pops that one up through the middle, trying to find Pacek. Pacek around. Pardon me, it was not Lavolsi, it was Challenger, as Cameron battling in the corner. Cameron, he gets it. As it's kept in just momentarily by the Marlboros, as the Kings, they're forced to regroup once more. The Kings leaving the zone early. We see two forwards already at the red line multiple times throughout that shift as the Kings, they dump this one down the length of the ice. It'll be a face-off inside their zone.
You want to hear a wild idea that I've had for a while? This is a hot take.
I would love to hear it.
And this doesn't really have anything to do with this game. I just kind of popped into my head. There should be a thing, or there shouldn't be a thing. I get why there isn't, but there should be a thing where it's like, if the team whose goalie it is intentionally knocks the pegs off, it should be a 1-minute penalty.
Oh, okay.
And if a team intentionally ices the puck, it should be a 30-second penalty.
And how many times would they have to ice it before you could determine that's an intentional icing?
I think it like 2 or 3 times. Like, remember in Game 7 between St. Louis and Winnipeg last year, when St. Louis just kept icing the puck in the last 3 minutes? A couple of times it does. It's like 30 seconds in the box.
That could certainly be a game changer. Maybe we'll take it up with the heads of the GTHL as Fitzgerald was called into the face-off as his teammate kicked out. As it's Cloutier hitting this one around LeCastro. Cloutier, the forechecker for the Kings. He can't get a piece of that one as it's Lavolsi dumping it around Watt. Scro back for the Kings. He gets it over for Watt. Watt to Cloutier. A chance here now for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald gets it across to Elaine. Elaine tries to pass that one through, but the Marlboros, they regroup possession in their own zone, and a massive hit on the near side boards. A penalty coming to the Kings, of course, going to Adrian Scro. Just a huge collision on the near side boards. Certainly a marvel to watch, as slow to get up were the Marlboros is knocked off there. It was Fitzgerald not really liking that call, maybe insinuating that it was a dive, as no more penalties doled out on the play.
I don't know if that one was a dive. Holy crap, Adrian Scroll, that was a huge hit. I think the only reason it may have looked like a dive is he was not very close to the boards at all, and that it was so powerful it really kind of took him back a ways. But a penalty for the Marlboros. Good opportunity here for them to go up 2-0.
Yeah, it was against Mason Quinn. He was the unfortunate soul that had to bear the hit there from Adrian Scro. As walking in are the Marlboros. That one fired off the pad of Stoke as a battle ensues behind the net, as it was Warner getting it there. Pardon me for the hesitation. Too many similar jersey numbers here for the Marlboros, as the one-timer is gloved by Stokes. Nice shot there from number 10, Jaden LeCastro.
Stokes was down quite a ways there. You saw him, both of his, he was already in the butterfly there. As the shot was going down lower than the butterfly, had to make a nice reaching save way above his head to stop that one. Maybe Stokes thinking another pass was coming, but either way, a good save.
As Riley taking the face-off, Miles, of course, trying to win it over to Braden. But the Vaughan Kings, they collect that one, dump it down the length of the ice. Coming out of his net to play it was Hardy. As the Marlboros, they'll regroup, trying to start the zone entry all the way back in their own end. As walking it through the neutral zone is Braden Riley. Riley on the near side boards fires this one around. Pops out to the point. Kept in by the Marlboros on the far side boards. Walking in, turning around are the Marlboros. A battle ensues as now it pops out to the neutral zone. Forechecking there are the Kings. Fitzgerald a little bit behind his man now as Menery joins to help him. Walking through is Miles Riley as he's knocked down. No call on the play as Mavru forced to retreat at his own blue line. A lane on now for the Kings.
We've seen that a couple times this game. On that blue line there, on the right side blue line, a few players have tripped and fall down there. I think all 3 times it's happened, we've thought a call was coming up, but maybe some uneven ice in that area.
Yeah, perhaps a little pothole as this one is dumped outside the zone, hit off a piece of glass and out of play. Not much time left remaining in this power play. The Marlboros haven't got too much done as it's Mavru walking it up. He throws it up on the far side boards, but once again the Kings do a good job at dumping it back down low. Elaine, the forechecker for the Kings. He's forced to retreat as a whistle is blown. It looks like there'll be another penalty on the play, perhaps. Nope, net coming off because something about the GTHL. I know this is like not really related. The GTHL and their nets are useless. Scotiabank Pond is the main perpetrator, but the nets come out so easily.
Yeah, I believe on that play, behind the play, Hardy sent the puck along the boards. Maximus Mavru, we thought that Hardy was going to drop it off for him, realized he wasn't, and then to dodge, kind of taking a chunk out of his own goaltender, had to slip and knock the net off of its pegs. But like you said, Sam, some fragile pegs in these ice.
As walking in now are the Kings. Throwing that one around was McClure. McClure behind the net of Hardy as now we are back to 5-on-5. Behind the net with it now. McClure finds it in the slot for number 7, Sebastian Fortin. As now in the corner, it's the Kings. On the near side boards, dumped down low. Cabral forechecking. Cabral played a piece in keeping that in. McClure, he has it on the near side boards. Behind the net with it now, still battling Cabral. Great forecheck from him this shift as it pops out to the front of the net. Another opportunity for Fortin. Fortin wires this one off of the blocker of Hardy. Getting that one down low was Watt. Watt battling in the corner, and an arm is up on this play. More pushing and shoving, and we do seem to be getting a whistle here. If it is the net again, I swear, Simon, and it is the net coming up.
The net again.
Why don't they just readjust these pegs? Because they're not in tight enough, as it stopped a couple major plays from unfolding in the Marlboros defensive zone.
It certainly has, man. It certainly has. Yet again, offensive zone face-off coming up here. I think what's really happening is Hardy himself is knocking these pegs off the net. I don't think it's really a certain player doing it. I think it's just him trying to hug the post and them coming off. Reaffirming your point that they just got to tighten it up a little bit.
As Scro turned that one over, but Fortin did a good job to keep that one in the zone. They are forced to retreat back in their own end as Fortin walks through the neutral zone, dumping that one in. And they are calling this icing. He didn't cross the line. The referees deeming that it did not touch a Marlboro stick, so it'll be a face-off inside the zone of the Vaughan Kings. We've slowed down a little bit in terms of intensity after the first period.
You know what? We certainly have not a ton of grade A scoring chances going either way here. However, the physicality is turning up a little bit. Obviously, that huge hit from Adrian Scro leading to a power play opportunity for the Marlboros, but a few more extracurricular activities happening now as the second period goes on.
We did wonder after the first period of the first game if that would continue all throughout the series. Definitely has slowed down since then, but these two teams, they don't like each other as it's Braden Riley throwing it over to Mavru down low. Mavru was trying to get it in the corner. He'll be forced to go back on D. And now it's the Kings starting the rush. The Kings trying to get it through. That was Pagani. Pagani chopping it towards the zone, but good defense there from Lavolsi to plug the line. That's Menery getting across. As now Rolston, he takes it wide. Rolston off the blocker of Hardy for Pagani. Pagani on the near side boards. He loses that one. Another huge hit on the near side boards. No call on this one, as walking it in now are the Marlboros. That's Riley firing that one, and gloving it is Stokes. Some physicality from the Vaughan Kings. We talked about the discipline being a lot better, but their physicality, that has remained.
Two very quick points on that play, Sam. Hey, you know what? That was a great hit onto Mason Quinn yet again. Poor Mason Quinn. But you know what? Take a hit to make a play. That was a good 3-on-2 opportunity that came about from drawing that hit for the Marlboros. Take a hit to make a play. That's all you can ask for in that situation. And going back to the physicality conversation we were just having, I think after that unfortunate, scary incident with Brody Brown, the physicality on both teams settled down a little bit. And now that some time has passed, you see that physicality go up. Some mentality changes since that scary incident we saw from earlier.
You certainly don't want to see a man go down. A scary sight for both teams, as everyone just wants to be out there to play at their highest levels. As in the corner now, the Marlboros, they gather it. Let's take a look at the beautiful Quench Center Etobicoke rink number 4. Who cares about the game in the corner, right? So,
hey man, that coach, he's giving it his all with his lungs.
He really is. He's truly just shouting over everything that's happening as it pops out into the corner. The Vaughan Kings once again unable to get it out of the zone.
Referee in good position right there.
Great position to watch the play, as it was Caputo walking the line beautifully. And again, let's just really take in how beautiful
Nolan
this
Hardy,
arena is.
He's looking locked in right now.
He is looking locked in despite the puck not being in his zone for quite some time. It is here, as forced to retreat was Caputo. Caputo, he fired that one up the near side boards as Pacek. He delivered it. Shot there from the slot. That one stopped by Stokes. In the corner now with it are the Marlboros. Ref's got to get out of the way as a battle ensues. Pops out to the middle of the ice, but there to collect were the Vaughan Kings. And Landon Keefe, he walks it in. Keefe, he has it at the top of the circle. Keefe, he loses that one. As on the far side boards, it's the Marlboros collecting it, dumping it down low. Scrow back there to collect for the Vaughan Kings. Scrow firing it up the near side boards. He can't get it out, as the Marlboros do a good job at stifling the line, keeping it in. Scrow getting it across. A pass to the neutral zone, intercepted by the Marlboros. At the blue line now, the Marlboros, they chip this one up. Collecting it is Challenger. Challenger walking in. Challenger getting this one down low for Cameron. Cameron trying to kick it to Challenger. Challenger behind the net. Backhand onto the net of Stokes. He picks up his own rebound. Over to Ashcroft. Ashcroft walking in. He throws it over to Cameron. Cameron, top of the blue line, he gets it across. Walking the line now. That's Ashcroft. Ashcroft, deflection from Challenger. That one off the pad and into the corner. It's the Marlboros retaining possession in the Vaughan Kings zone. Kept in by Roche at the blue line. Over to Challenger. He gets it down low. Behind the net now with it are the Marlboros, circling around on the near side boards. Lavolsi on for the Marlboros now. He tried to get a piece of that one. Roche keeps it in at the blue line. Roche trying to get that one across. Pops out near Lavolsi in the slot. Backhand opportunity. Stokes makes the save, sends it to the corner. The Vaughan Kings, they dump this one down the length of the ice. Will it be enough? No, it won't, says the referee.
Some very, very tired skaters on there for the Kings. A much, much needed change. What an opportunity for the Marlboros.
As Rolston picks it up in the slot, circling around, and a collision with Hardy, and that most certainly will be a goaltender interference call for Landon Rolston. Rolston immediately does not like that one. Chatting with the ref, you could see his head cock back, his arms go up. That one is a tough play.
That's a tough play for Rolston. That's going to be called 10 days out of 10, though. But to Rolston's, I guess, point or his perspective, Hardy came way out of his net to play that puck. Obviously, you're trying to get the whistle there on the rush chance if you're the goaltender, but he was out of his crease by a fair margin along the side there. There's nothing really that Rolston could have done going in at that speed to get out of the way of Hardy. Obviously, that is going to be called 100% of the time, but I certainly get Rolston's perspective of, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to stop and risk injuring myself? Like, that's a very tough play for Landon Rolston to make.
Not much he can do there, cutting towards the net when his lane is taken away. Rolston's a very fast player, so to shift speeds and to shift your direction that quickly, really, really tough. But nonetheless, it will be a power play once again for the Marlboros.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, if I'm Nolan Hardy, I'm kind of thanking Rolston for trying to get out of the way nonetheless, because he put himself in a very, very dangerous position. That could have been easily a knee to the head collision there for them.
As it's the Marlboros winning this one back to Mavru. Mavru can't control it at the blue line. He's forced to go back into his own zone and reset the power play. This number 1 unit on once more for the Marlboros. As it's the Kings collecting it inside. Lavolsi unable to keep that one in. The Kings have done a good job so far this game at just dumping the puck down and avoiding any risky plays in their own end. As getting a piece of that one were the Marlboros as they look to walk through. Intercepted once more. LaCastro behind his own net, pressured. He throws it around to the corner. The Kings doing a good job at forechecking and forcing bad passes as Menery, he gets a piece of that one.
Yeah, some unforced turnovers here from the Marlboros early on. Only one forechecker when there's 4 of your teammates around you. That one's called for an offside. Just some unnecessary sloppy passes there to start this power play.
Some miscommunication indeed, and the Vaughan Kings doing an excellent job at penalty killing so far as Pagani is back on to PK for them. It'll be Pagani joined alongside Menery, who we've seen be so affected in the forecheck on the penalty kill.
Yeah, to that point, Sammy, I think the Vaughan Kings, this is their 7th or 8th penalty kill of this series so far across games 1 and so far here in game 2, only allowing 1 power play goal in that time span. They have a very, very aggressive and good penalty kill.
Perhaps just getting used to being not on even strength, as we remember they had 8 penalty minutes in the first period of game number 1, and they did not really get impacted too much by that, obviously, getting the win in game number 1 as Mavru, who threw that one across. Mavru at the point. Mavru surveying his options. He throws it over to Herbert. Herbert gets that one down low. A centering pass as that one was intercepted. We're literally just watching the reflection of the glass because that is all we can do on those weird little sways from our camera as it's jumped down low to the Marlboros. A long stretch pass here. A chance. Fired. Rebound pops out, but covering it just in time to evade the oncoming Herbert was Dimitri Stokes.
A fantastic pass there from the Marlboros to find Herbert lurking at the blue line. A bit of a ill-advised change in the forward group for the penalty killers there, leaving Herbert pretty wide open. Great job from the defenseman to get to him quickly, forcing him to take that shot just above the circle, just above the face-off dot on that far side there. Didn't allow Herbert to get in deep to make a move.
As it'll be a face-off inside. Not too much time remaining on this power play, but it will be Miles Riley taking the face-off for the Marlboros. He tried to win that one back, and it goes over the glove of the Marlboros. Just 15 seconds left remaining. Gianluca McClure, he's battling in the corner. Great name. As he knocks down his man in the corner, just pinching it up against the board, trying to time out this power play. McClure does a great job there, as now it's the Marlboros breaking through the zone, back to 5-on-5. Walking in, nice move there for the Marlboros, cutting towards the net. Stokes just gets a piece of that Braden Riley opportunity. Riley, his hands are magnificent, but Stokes' save was even better as Riley knocked into his own bench. The physicality really coming on here from the Vaughan Kings.
Some huge hits in the second period from the captain, Adrian Scrow.
As walking in now is Elaine. Elaine trying to beat his man. He collects it in the corner. Elaine battling on the near side boards now. The Kings try to get it up. Not kept in by Watt, and now a breakaway opportunity here for the Marlboros. All alone. Shot saved by Stokes, and a collision at the net, and some extracurriculars happening here. There likely will be a penalty on the play. I have to assume a goaltender interference call is coming, especially after what we saw with the Landon Rolston play. Some pushing and shoving behind the net. 2 guys going after it. I would be shocked if we don't see a couple guys headed to the sin bin.
I was just going to say, definitely a goaltender interference call. You come in at full speed on the goaltender. That's another very dangerous play. You don't really have time to stop. Only the really option you have is to kind of go face first into the goalie, unfortunately. I don't know if there's any penalties being called. We don't see anyone heading to the penalty box. I could have sworn before the camera swayed, I saw a couple punches and cross-checks being thrown to the player on the ice.
Yeah, it was Lavolsi with the opportunity as he was getting berated in the net after he collided with Dimitri Stokes. I am shocked, Simon, there's no calls on the play, especially after we saw that Landon Rolston one be called goalie interference.
Yeah, if I'm the Kings right now, sorry to cut you off there, Sammy, but if I'm the Kings right now, I am very, very upset at that call. I think the only argument you could maybe make is that maybe he was being pushed into the goaltender, as I believe it was number 34, Mr. Joshua Pagani, who had a great back check to, cut off Lavolsi and make him shoot a bit before he wanted to. We've seen that a couple times the past couple minutes from the Kings already. So maybe that's the only argument you can make of why there's no goaltender interference call, but if I'm the King, I'm very frustrated right now.
As Cloutier walks in, falling, Bobby Orr towards the net, and Hardy, he makes the stop, but the Kings, all they get off of that collision was a face-off outside as Challenger on the backhand gets this one up through the neutral zone. Deflected off of Cloutier. Here comes Elaine. Elaine has Cloutier, and Fitzgerald across with the one-timer. Great save there by Hardy as a battle on the far side boards as it's the Marlboros getting it out. The Marlboros going the other way. Beautiful move there to get it across. He was the lone man in Jaden Challenger, showing that he deserves to be here as it's not back in to the Marlboros zone. Pass through the neutral zone as it's Warner forechecking for the Marlboros. Dump down low back into Toronto's zone. Once again, it's them walking it up the side of the far side boards. Dump back in by the Kings, but it's the Marlboros getting a piece of it. The Marlboros walking it through the neutral zone. Drop pass, shot from the slot. Rebound pops out, and that one was stopped by a Vaughan King leg. Apologies, didn't see the number there. But
sorry to cut you off, Sam. I believe that was Will Cameron with the opportunity.
Cameron with the opportunity, and it looked like it was Nixon McKeag that got the leg on it to not allow the shot through. A shot does get through there, but Stokes, he covers it up. And wow, what a back and forth play in the second period we have been witnessing.
Man, I think it was just 2 or 3 minutes ago we were just saying, well, the second period's calmed down in intensity a little bit. And then just some magnificent hockey action to close out this second period. What a fantastic save from Nolan Hardy. My goodness, I can't believe he got a piece on that. Also, we were talking about maybe a pothole at this blue line here. There's another pothole at the far side corner of the Marlboro zone right now as we're going to pan to it. That far side kind of circle dot there, face-off dot there, there's another pothole there. A few falls in that area already.
Maybe not the best ice in the corners. They'll have to make do. As you're right, it was an excellent save there from Nolan Hardy. The only redeemable thing there from the Kings is that I think everyone in the arena knew that pass was coming. We saw Fitzgerald absolutely teed up for the one-timer, and Hardy, he got his long frame across to make the save. Less than 45 seconds remaining in the second period as Hardy, he goes for the long stretch pass over to Warner. Warner trying to get this one across. It pops out to Herbert in front. Stokes makes the save as it rims around the back of his net. The Kings looking to get it out of the zone. Back are two Marlboros men. Walking in is McClure. McClure rimming it around as that one pops out to the middle of the zone. Cabral with the opportunity. Hits off of Ashcroft's leg. Cabral with the rebound. And Hardy makes the save. Another one there off the stick of Fitzgerald as it pops out to Scrow. Scrow fires that one. It was not Fitzgerald. It was McClure there down low. McClure trying to find Cabral. That one was intercepted as it'll be dumped out of the Marlboro zone. Going back to retreat will be the Kings. And dribbling it out will be the Vaughan Kings. 1-1 going into the third period. Some back and forth chances, some grade A chances on both sides of the ice. And Simon, we are in for a treat of a third.
I made the point of this game probably won't go as well as the first one in terms of, I think there's going to be a couple more goals until the end of the third period. I'm not too sure. Both of these goaltenders are absolutely dialed in. Stokes making some fantastic saves in tight. And of course, Nolan Hardy, holy crap, he's had to made a couple of 10 out of 10 saves to keep this game tied. Both of these, we're in a goaltender's duel here.
We certainly are. I think you could make the argument that Stokes, he has definitely made more saves. The quantity side is on Stokes, but I think the quality side is on Nolan Hardy. Hardy has had to make a couple of, I almost want to say 11 Beller saves.
Yeah, no, honestly, Sammy, that one glove save on Fitzpatrick was Fitzgerald, not Fitzpatrick, was unbelievable. And on that last play there, McClure seemed like he had a wide open rebound. He was able to get the pad on it, just some fantastic saves. But going the other way, Stokes, it's also very hard to just consistently make the saves you need to. I know we kind of overlooked that trait in a goaltender, but to be that well positioned for 60 minutes, or I guess 45 minutes of a game, these 15-minute periods, to stay that dialed in the whole time is very, very hard to do. It takes a lot of mental focus. So another just fantastic game from both of these goaltenders so far.
Very hardy indeed. I'm sorry. As soon as you said it, I had no choice as it's dumped back down into the Marlboro zone. Some early collisions from each team already. As Elaine, the forechecker there, he didn't get it all, but he got some of it. So the Vaughan Kings, they regroup. Walking in now is Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald around Roche. Fitzgerald cutting towards the net. Centering pass in front. That one stopped. Oh, no. Knocked down there is Hardy. But the Marlboros, they do get it out just in time. Walking in now. The Marlboros fire this one off the blocker of Stokes. And it rims around the boards. The Vaughan Kings, they go for a change. As the Marlboros, they break through. And offside is the call.
Yes.
That was a dangerous development there, and I think the Kings, they got a little lucky off a bad line change.
They did indeed. That was Mason Quinn streaking in. I think he thought the pass was coming towards him, which is why he jumped the blue line so quickly. And then when he realized it was going to his centerman, he had to quickly try to jump back onside. Fortunately for him and the Marlboros, unable to do so. But just for some context, there's a 15-minute intermission between second and third periods, and you could fool me. We're picking up right where we left off.
Yeah, neither team wanting to give an inch here. This is GTHL U16 AAA at its finest. You could argue this is GTHL hockey at its finest as it's knocked down low into the Marlboros zone. Two of the superstars here as it's Rolston centering the pass in front, but no one really there to receive, and a hooking call on the play.
No.
It'll be the Vaughan Kings going back to the box. Trying to start the rush were the Marlboros, and once again, they will receive a power play. It seems like it's just been even strength, just back and forth action, and then Marlboros power play all game long as it's Pagani for the Kings headed to the box. So that line, they've received a couple penalties.
They have.
We saw Scrow head to the box. We saw Pagani, and we saw Rolston. You could argue that's kind of their big three.
It is. That's their top guys. Those are the big boys on this team. And it's such an interesting development because, you know, they rely on that line so much for their offense and being a bit too aggressive here.
As it's down low, Riley trying to pop that one up high, hits off the blocker and out of play. You can see them running a very similar play to that first goal. It was Miles Riley walking the line, finding Braden down low, and you could see Braden, he's in that spot down low where you could either shoot or cut towards the net. You see a lot of NHL teams employ that play. The Leafs are the first to come to mind. That John Tavares spot where you have the opportunity to pass across or walk it in down low as LeCastro gets it down for Riley. Riley fires that one just off the blocker and hits off the side of the net of Stokes. Great save there as Riley gets it down for Braden. Braden trying to put that one 5-hole. Rebound in front, pops out for the Kings. The Kings fire this one off the glass and down the length of the ice. Some good forechecking here from Rolston as I don't think LeCastro knows he's there as Rolston getting a piece of this puck. Rolston battling two men behind the net. He's knocked off of it as the Marlboros, they'll break the other way.
Man, that was a great back check from Rolston. Like you said, I don't think LeCastro really realized that he was so close behind him. I was thinking in my mind, man, he's got to get hustling. But like you said, Sam, a fantastic back check.
As a one-on-one forming here. And this is one of the guys you want it to be, is knocked down are the Vaughan Kings, and there is a call on the play. Will be going to 4-on-4 hockey as, wow, that is not the penalty you want to take if you're the Marlboros on the power play. It is the Marlboros taking the penalty in their own zone. Maximus Mavru, one of their quote-unquote big boys, heading to the box, a guy who's so lethal, as now it will be a 4-on-4 hockey game for just a little bit as Cabral will be taking the faceoff for the Kings.
Yes, and I believe that was Cabral who did draw that penalty. A fantastic play from him to try to beat his defender. He got the puck past him, and Mavru, he got the stick in there on his body and drew the call. Was Sebastian Cabral. What a fantastic play from him.
As it's the Marlboros running through the neutral zone. Shane Roche. He tries to get this one down low for Pacek. Pacek, he keeps it in, but only for a moment as Gianluca McClure. He battles on the near side boards, just losing it. Roche walking back in. Roche firing this one. Trying to glove that one was Stokes, as walking it back in his own zone is Nixon McKegg of the Vaughan Kings. The Kings trying for the long stretch pass. This one going down the length of the ice. It will be an icing on the play. Not much time remaining in the Joshua Pagani penalty. It's just over 10 seconds. So the Kings, if they gain possession, they'll go right to their power play efforts here, as you do see some power play guys in Fitzgerald and Cloutier on, joined by Scrow.
Yeah, and you have Rolston in the box as well. So just Pagani in the box. So again, he's probably going to be coming right to the ice after his 10 seconds are up.
After a 2-minute break, that's maybe what he needed to catch his breath, as Herbert won that faceoff over to Quinn. Quinn trying to get it for Caputo. Caputo, he nearly loses that puck to Fitzgerald, but he got it back in the zone so he could retreat. And now the penalty for the Kings is over. They are now on the power play with just around a minute left. Rolston on here for the Kings. It was Pagani coming off. as the Kings, they can't get it through. Back in the neutral zone, the Kings trying to collect themselves. Walking it in now are the Kings. Fitzgerald in the slot. Drop down low for Rolston. That pass intercepted and forced to retreat in his own end is Kane Cloutier. Cloutier, he does have a lot of speed. Rolston does as well, but we'll see who it is carrying it through the zone. It's Cloutier kind of haphazardly dropping it for Scro. Cloutier going back to swirl with the puck. Rolston looking for a stretch pass. As now it is the Kings walking it up, really taking their time, getting it up the zone. Here's the saucer pass across, goes over to Kane Cloutier. Cloutier at the top of the circle. He rims this one around for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald, he elects to miss that one as it pops out to the point. To Fitzgerald down low, another call on the play. Centering pass over in front, and it will be the Kings going on a brief 5-on-3 as it'll be a Marlboro heading to the box. We saw the Kings man in front knocked down, and I believe it is Joshua Caputo heading to the box. That's right, it'll be Caputo, as now this is a dangerous opportunity unfolding here for the Vaughan Kings, of course. Not a long 5-on-3, but a 5-on-3 with a team this offensively gifted is always a dangerous opportunity.
It certainly is, and especially if they're able to win this offensive zone face-off, anything can happen here. Just a few seconds left to go on that initial call on Maximus Mavru. You know Mavru is going to be busting his tail to get back out on the ice to be a good penalty killer.
As Scro got that one across. Scro, he has Cloutier across. Cloutier fires this one at the back post. Rebound pops out to Rolston. Rolston couldn't get a piece of it. As it pops out to the near side boards, Cloutier once more. 4-on-4 hockey now. At the point, it's Scro. Scro walking the line. Scro over to Cloutier for the one-timer. Great save by Hardy to get across as it's dumped back into the Vaughan King zone. 1:30 remaining in the Braden Riley penalty, so still a lot of power play time for the Vaughan Kings to work with. Walking it in now are the Vaughan Kings. That's Scro firing it off the blocker of Hardy. Fitzgerald getting a piece of that one. And the Marlboros now nearly had a 2-on-1, but a great move from Cloutier in the neutral zone. Cloutier walking in, firing that one off a leg of a Marlboro. But what an individual effort that was as Cloutier tried to get it down low towards the point. Couldn't get that one tape to tape. Less than a minute remaining now in the Vaughan Kings power play.
Yeah, just to go back to the Joshua Caputo penalty really quickly, he was sent for cross-checking in front of the net. An ill-advised move there, especially tied halfway through the third period. Just a bad penalty to take here. And we already saw how special this Vaughan Kings group can be on the power play. As that puck, oh my gosh, watch out, coach.
Sent into the Toronto Marlboros bench, maybe sending a message, hey, give me more ice time.
I think that was exactly what he was trying to do. I'm sure Dad may have told him to do that in the car ride over.
As I will correct myself, I did say Braden Riley. It was Caputo in the box there as we see the second power play unit for the Vaughan Kings out. Menery joined by Cabral and Elaine, as we see number 14, Liam Nelson, out there as well, as the Vaughan Kings will look to get something started with 28 seconds left of the power play. You can see the Vaughan Kings bench anxiously watching all the events that are about to unfold here, as the faceoff is won by the Kings back. At the line with it now, the Kings. They get this one down low on the far side boards, but the Marlboros, they intercept that one immediately, sending it down low into the neutral zone. The Kings regrouping. That's Nelson turning around. Nelson, we saw him start the goal for the Vaughan Kings as he walked it in when he found Brown. Going back to play this one is Nixon McKegg in the corner. McKegg with just 10 seconds left in the power play. The Kings likely will wait till 5-on-5 to enter the zone. As now it's the Kings walking it in. That's Nelson. Nelson taking it wide. Nelson dropping back. Nelson trying to find his man at the point. He regains it at the top of the circle. Nelson trying to firing that one through. Menery gets it to the slot, but that pass just sent awry. Some good forechecking here from the Vaughan Kings, but now it is Toronto breaking the other way. Walking it in are the Marlboros. Getting this one across for Challenger. Challenger fires that one. Hits off a Vaughan King leg. A battle in the boards now. Pops out to Roche. Roche, he gets that one across for the one-timer. Again, hitting a Vaughan King leg, doing a good job at plugging the shooting lanes. That's Roche calling for it at the blue line, but they elect to go on the far side. 8 minutes remaining in the third period as it's the Kings walking it to the corner. Back behind the net of Stokes. They'll be forced to regroup. They are starting a change of their own.
Yeah, I think at this point in the game, I wouldn't say it's next goal wins territory just yet. But I think if you're either team, you're just looking to not be the one to make a mistake.
Next goal important as Rolston just fires this one over the neck, it looked like, of Nolan Hardy, as it's the Kings really wishing they popped that one. A goal would mean a lot to this Vaughan team here, as a whistle is called. Again, apologies for the camera work. Really interested in the center of the ice and not much more, as the Vaughan Kings will go for a line change.
Yeah, and just to quickly back off the point I was just making, certainly not next goal wins territory yet, still a lot of hockey to be played, but you have to think the next goal is going to be incredibly crucial to the outcome of this one. And I think if you're both teams, you're maybe looking to play a little bit more conservatively and just not be that team or that player to make that crucial mistake that's going to lead to the next goal.
As it's the Marlboros #1 line on here with Lavolsi, Riley, and Riley. As it's one to the side. The Vaughan Kings with it now. Getting it down low, centering pass in front. That one's intercepted by the hash marks. The Vaughan Kings nearly kept it in, but going back the other way was Fitzgerald. He was forced to just take it back out of the zone. A long stretch pass trying to find Fitzgerald. It just pops out to Ashcroft. Ashcroft, he can't get this one out. Kept in by Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald at the point. And that pass is sent awry, and going back the other way are the Marlboros forechecking to try to get it off of Skro. Skro turning back around his own net. It's Riley getting possession. Riley popping this one over to Rosh. Rosh walking in, scores! Shane Rosh with his second of the game, and he puts the Marlboros up by 1.
My goodness, what a game from Shane Rosh. 2 goals in this one, first one and the second one there. What a shot, by the way. My goodness, picks the bottom shelf perfectly. As you see, a couple teammates going to give Stokes a little tap on the pads. I just made this point. You don't want to be that team to make the first mistake, a bad turnover. Off of a good forecheck, granted, a great forecheck from the Marlboros to get that puck in deep and to chase the puck carrier of the Kings. But a bad turnover behind the net of Stokes leaks out to Braden Riley. Riley getting his second primary assist of the game on that one. And yet again, Shane Roche, a wicked shot, beats Stokes 2-1 Marlboros.
Yeah, we'll see how generous the timekeepers are in this one, as it did leak out to Shane Roche. It looked like it could have hit a Vaughan King stick, but Riley, again, such a force in this game, as it pops out back to the Marlboros point. Operating with some confidence as they fire this one onto the net of Stokes. Stokes swallows that one up. And the Vaughan Kings, there's just about 6.5 minutes remaining. They are going to be looking for a goal here. You might see their lines start to tighten just a bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're the Kings, you're rolling out 4 D-men for the rest of this game and probably 6. I've said it once. I don't want to say it again, but in context, you're probably only rolling out 6 forwards, maybe add a 7th there as like a rover to flip between lines, but you're really just going with your top 6 and your top 4 for the rest of this game.
This is an offensive zone faceoff won by the Marlboros. Back over to Caputo. Caputo, he couldn't control that one, as it's the Kings gathering it back in their own end. Jansen, he has it. Jansen looking for Rolston with it at the point. Jansen fires this one up the near side boards, getting a piece of it where the Vaughan Kings no icing call on the play. Hardy out of his net to play it. Popping out to the far side boards once more. Knocked down is a Marlboro man, no call on the play. Walking in now is Warner. Warner cutting towards the net. Warner, he's just beat off the puck by Adrian Skro. Good defense there in the corner. Receiving that one now is Quinn. Quinn in the corner. Quinn battling on the near side boards. Herbert there to help, and now walking up is Rolston. Rolston with some speed. Landon Rolston beats his man. Rolston at the slot. Shot. Scores! Landon Rolston ties the game with a beautiful individual effort.
Landon Rolston, holy smokes, what a move that was. Beating the defenseman, that's like the one-touch deke in NHL that doesn't work. Yeah, he made it work, and man, we've talked all game about how great of a game it has been for Nolan Hardy. I'm sure he would love to have that one back. It just squeaked through his arm and body, just trickles into the net. It looks like he actually got a fair bit of that puck, but that shot too close and too strong from Landon Rolston. As this game is tied, only a minute or two after the Marlboros take the lead. What a game this is.
And a great response from the Vaughan Kings with just over 5 3/4 left to go here in the third period. As walking it up now are the Kings. Fitzgerald knocked into the board. Pardon me, that's Rolston knocked into the board. That's knocked down into the corner. Battling on the near side boards, it pops out. And number 14, Liam Nelson, he'll fire this one back into the Marlboro zone. Going back to put on pressure is Fitzgerald. Cameron with it now. Cameron, long stretch pass here. As walking it up now is Herbert. Herbert cutting towards the net. Herbert knocked down. No call on the play. He does collide with Stokes. We'll see if there's anything going on here.
Whoa.
As now some extracurriculars knocked down into the Marlboros bench. Was a Vaughan Kings player. Just cut off in time. We'll see if there's any calls on the play, but you have to assume the whistles might go away here. I mean, a call going one way or the other could determine the outcome.
Yeah, I don't believe either team are going to get a call here. That was a bit of an ill-advised cross-checking from the Marlboros bench there. Didn't love that play, but that certainly was not enough to warrant a goaltender interference. You did clearly see that the Vaughan Kings player, he did take down the Marlboro to that kind of forced him to run into Dimitri Stokes there. So I like the no call. And to your point, Sammy, I think, about 5 minutes left to go in this tie game here. I think the whistles are basically put away.
Yeah, it would have to be something exceptionally egregious. Good alliteration from the kid there. As Riley wins this one back over to Riley. It was Miles to Braden as it's dumped back in by the Marlboros. Braden Riley is the forechecker for them. Pops out to the corner. Off the glass. The Kings trying to break through the other way. As Elaine, he couldn't get a piece of that one, but Cloutier does. Cloutier walking in. Drops it for Elaine. Elaine trying to get that one through the legs. As that one is sent to the Marlboros corner. Mavru with it now. Mavru. He starts his own little rush. He's being pressured by Elaine as Elaine backs off for Cloutier to be the main forechecker. As now it's Miles Riley. He hits this off the backhand to his man in the corner. In the corner now with it are the Kings, getting this one off the glass and out of play. It'll be a face-off, most likely inside, unless the refs deem that it hit off a Marlboro stick. I don't believe it did, as it'll be a face-off inside the Vaughan Kings zone with just under 4.5 minutes left to go in the third period.
What a game this has been, Sammy. Like, just some high-octane offense, back and forth, some great saves, some great defensive plays as well. I think you said it before, but this is what the GTHL is all about. Less than 5 minutes to go here, and we could be seeing overtime for both of these teams.
As Warner fires that one off the Vaughan King leg, as now it's in the corner. Popped out to the point. A deflection there off the stick of Mason Quinn, popped out to the corner, but Stokes, he didn't anticipate that one as Quinn fires another one on the net. Rebound pops out, but just collecting it in time is Dimitri Stokes. Even though there's been 4 goals in this game, I still do believe that this has been a goaltending duel.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Sammy. I mean, both of these goalies have faced a tremendous amount of shots, let alone the quality of their saves. Like, to your point, Sam, this isn't a goaltender's duel as, both teams going into this third period with a shutout, but some fantastic goaltender play in this one.
I love being able to say the word shutout on a broadcast and not having the fear of it being a jinx. As it's knocked down into the Marlboro zone, icing will be the call on the play. Another offensive zone face-off for them as the Kings go for a partial change. That is a fun rule in the GTHL. If you dump it, you don't have to worry about keeping the same line. So they can get fresh legs out there. They do only elect to throw on Liam Watt. As you can see, the Kings anxiously watching this play unfold as Herbert wins that one forward. Cutting towards the net, Herbert! He had a chance to pot that one over the pad of Dimitri Stokes, but once again, this far side net coming off its pegs. I think this net has been the low light of this game. It has been an exceptional game otherwise.
I think you're right. And you would have thought that maybe the ice crew would have taken a look at it between second and third period, but it seems like either they did and just didn't do a good job, or they just completely didn't do it. Either way, these nets in the GTHL, they're loose.
Yeah, problem is in the G, the ice crew are these 4 guys in stripes right here. So we don't have guys putting in drill or burr holes throughout the intermissions as it's a battle in the corner. Rolston, he couldn't get a piece of that one. It's kept in by LaCastro. The Marlboros trying to handle it down low. A stick lift there from LaCastro as he pins Rolston against the board. I guess Rolston kind of pinned him as well as Warner walks in, fires this one off the blocker of Stokes. Stokes sent this one to the corner. As it pops out, Mavru can't keep it in. He will take it back into the zone. I wonder where this faceoff's going to be, because you could argue that that was intentional, but the referees, they don't elect to make that argument a full line change here for both teams.
Yeah, no, I do like that call. He tried his absolute best to keep it in. I don't think you can call that wholeheartedly intentional offside.
Yeah.
Especially with your basically entire team in the zone already.
As it's one back to the Kings down low in their own zone. They look to get something started. They've been hemmed into their own zone for quite some time, as it's the challenger line out here. He's played so well, it is the challenger line now for me. As it's one back over to Mavru at the blue. Mavru walking in. Mavru deciding to take it wide. Firing that one on the net of Stokes. Popping out, but Skro, he gets a piece of it. Dumps it back into the neutral zone. The Marlboros, good puck possession here, as it's Pawcheck receiving it at the blue line. That's won by Keefe. Keefe taking it. Keefe, he got that one down low into the corner. Cabral joining him on the forecheck, as it's the Marlboros looking to break off the near side boards. As Challenger, he has it at the red line. Challenger trying to go for a windmill around Skro. Skro, he fires this one over to the far side boards. A battle ensuing, and Cabral, he fires this one up and out of play, as Ashcroft, he was thinking about getting athletic, trying to get a piece of that one, but with 2:42 left in the third period, it'll be a face-off inside the zone of the Kings.
There's one person I'm really looking for in this Marlboros group, and that's Michael Pawcheck, number 98 out there. In the series against the Mississauga Senators that went to 5 games, he scored 2 game-winning goals, 4 goals across that series, but 2 of those goals were game winners. We haven't really seen much of him throughout this series so far. Certainly haven't seen really any of him in this game. He's a clutch player who scores big-time goals. I'm really interested to see if he will continue that mantra.
And this would be the time. It is about hero time here between the Vaughan Kings and the Toronto Marlboros in game number 2 of their semifinal series in the U16 AAA division of the GTHL. Quench Center Etobicoke, rink number 4, might see some drama unfold, as there's just over 2 minutes remaining, as Lavolsi knocked into the boards by Nelson. As now it's the Vaughan Kings breaking the other way. Walking it in now is Fitzgerald, as he found his man down low, popped out the rebound to the corner. The Vaughan Kings, they retain possession at the point. Walking the line, a backhand, deflected, rebound pops out, but unable to get all of that were the Vaughan Kings, as they're forced to regroup back in their own zone. Nelson retreating. Nelson, he got that one up the blue. It comes back to him at the top of his own circle. Nelson just trying to get it out of the zone, and it's the Marlboros picking it up in the neutral zone. Warner with it. He has Quinn. Quinn at the slot. Fires that one off the pad of Stokes. And Stokes, with the rebound control, collects that one to his glove. And Dimitri Stokes, he has faced a flurry of Toronto opportunities, but he has stood tall.
He certainly has, and yet again, his defense are doing a good job at limiting the chances to be those like shots from 20, 25 feet out. So not the most dangerous opportunities that Stokes have had to face, but you know, one of those goals, one of those shots could easily squeak by him. He's doing a fantastic job staying sharp throughout this entire game to make those saves.
As he will have to continue to stand tall, as it's the Marlboros collecting the puck in the zone once more, firing it towards the net. It hits off of a Vaughan King body, dumped down the length of the ice, and this one will be enough for icing.
Yeah, and for our new viewers who might not be as familiar with the GTHL rules, we did talk about the fact that you're able to change lines as the team who does ice the puck. Just a quick clarification of the rules. You know, these guys, they're only 15 years old. GTHL, they want to prevent injuries as much as they can, which is why you don't want to have some really tired guys out in the defensive zone trying to play physically. You're very tired. That can lead to some injuries. So that is the main reason why the GTHL do allow teams to change on icings.
Yeah, of course, that can be a huge factor, as we are at the minute mark in the third period as the battle ensues at the near side boards. Walking the line. That's LaCastro firing that off the glove of Stokes, as the Vaughan Kings, they retain possession. As it's Menery, he pops that one up to his man walking in now. That's Cloutier. Kane Cloutier cutting across. Cloutier at the slot. He looked like he wanted to fire that one with speed. As Cloutier, he loses this one in the neutral zone, trying to regain it back, as it's Watt circling around. Watt, he throws it over to Mavru. Mavru down low. He thought Watt was there. Watt was going for a change, as there's less than 30 seconds remaining in the third period. Menery knocked down at the blue line. An arm is up here, as the Vaughan Kings, they did have possession. We do see Stokes coming out, but it does look like it'll be a cross-check assessed to the Vaughan Kings. He's pointing over as Cloutier, he is doubled over there but we're not really sure. Again, this camera angle, not the best, but it does look like it's going to be a Toronto Marlboros power play going into the end of this third frame. No, it won't be. Wow, pointing towards the Vaughan Kings bench, but I don't know why he was doing that, because it's a Vaughan Kings power play to end this third period. 10 seconds left to go in the third. The Vaughan Kings with a power play, and the biggest face-off of the Toronto Marlboros season ensues here as they'll go for their timeout. Now, I do want to remind viewers that as per the rules, if this game doesn't end after 3 periods, it will go to overtime. If the score is still tied after overtime, they will take a normal break. The referee does have the call to flood the ice if he wants to. It's up to the referee's discretion, and then they'll keep going for overtimes. There's no shootout in this. So
love that.
Long overtime periods, which is just absolutely great to see, especially with teams with this much speed. You got to assume that the Vaughan Kings are trying to set up a set play here.
You know what's a great concept? Having an important, crucial tournament game not end in the shootout and also not end 3-on-3.
That is true. But in the likely scenario that it does go to overtime, one team will have 3 players on the ice, so it is 4-on-4, I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a very good clarification there. Good call from Sammy. Also, really quickly, that was an insane call. We kind of harp on these referees a little bit here in this GTHL league. I cannot believe that was called a cross-check.
As it's the Vaughan Kings trying to win this face-off, a battle ensuing behind the net, but it'll be another whistle inside. Don't worry, folks, he didn't miss anything inside the offensive zone. Everything that we saw, you have also seen, as 12.3 seconds left remaining in the third period here. Again, if there is action down low, we will let you know, but nothing going here as the puck is sent over to the far side boards. The Kings trying to control possession, another face-off inside. And yeah, let's go back to where we seemed comfortable here.
It just seems like, I mean, again, we're seeing what you're seeing. But it seems like the Vaughan Kings are just trying to get a very quick shot off of the faceoff. And let's keep in mind, that's how they scored the game winner in Game 1. King Klute, he had a wicked shot from the top of the circle right off the faceoff win.
As the time will dwindle down in the third period, running out of time are the Vaughan Kings, and this game is headed to overtime.
Great call.
Thanks.
And hey, we talked a little bit on the broadcast the other day about the Canadians and Majors being in a bit of uncharted territory with the way that game was going about. This game, I believe this is the first time this entire season that either of these teams have gone into overtime. The Marlboros and Senators series, none of those games went to overtime. Toronto Red Wings versus Vaughan Kings, none of those games have gone to overtime, and we have to remember every game that ends with the score tied at the end of regulation in the regular season ends in a tie. They each get 1 point. There's no overtime in GTHL regular season. So the first overtime of the year for both of these teams, and you would have to think that whoever wins this game, the tides turn in the series either way. Vaughan Kings would go up 2-0 on the series. Marlboro is pulling it within 1, then it's a best of 3 where anything can happen. But you have to think, if the Vaughan Kings find a way to pull this one out, that would be just disastrous for the Marlboros.
It would be indeed, as the Vaughan Kings, they are giving Stokes his flowers as he has played so well so far. So the referee's discussing with the Vaughan Kings. So I did mention it would be 4-on-4, but the GTHL, they do kind of mix up with the age groups what the format is. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what the Vaughan Kings roll out here. I could see even the Vaughan Kings coach wasn't 1,000% sure what it would be. The Vaughan Kings still on the power play heading into overtime, as we'll see who is sent out. Rolston, of course, and Scrow will be out there. Fortin out there as well. And boy, oh boy, I think we're headed towards a dramatic end to this game.
I think you're right, Sam, and it does look like it will be 4-on-4, I guess 4-on-3 with the power play opportunity.
Nice.
Thank you. But yeah, like you said, Sam, this game, 4 goals throughout 45 minutes of play with all these chances. Maybe the thinking man or the betting man would say, hey, maybe this game goes a bit longer given the way both of these goaltenders are playing. 5-minute overtime, just to note that as well. But Both of these teams very tired. The first time either of these teams have gone into overtime. A lot more open ice for two incredibly quick teams. I think this game is going to end pretty early into this frame.
As here we go, it's Fortin gathering it back in his own end. The Vaughan Kings walking it up. That's Adrian Skro. He drops it down low, and that is immediately called offside. So we were right. It is 4-on-4 hockey here. 4-on-3, of course, as the Marlboros still on the penalty kill. 1 minute and 28 seconds. That is a lot of time to be playing down a man in overtime, especially down with 4-on-3 hockey, as it'll be a face-off just outside the zone of the Marlboros.
And of course, you got the big boys out there for the Kings to start this overtime frame as well. Interested to see how much of this overtime they're going to play. I wouldn't be surprised if Rolston, Cloutier, all these guys are out there for at least half this frame.
As they're unable to get this one across the line once more. It's Skro with it. Skro looking for his options. He sends this one up the far side boards. And now here come the Vaughan Kings the other way, walking it in. Fortin cutting towards the net. Fortin going for the long stretch pass. And that one just misses the stick of his man on the far post, as it's the Vaughan Kings trying to walk it up the zone. Fortin bring it through. Fortin cutting towards the net. Fortin on the backhand. Great save by Hardy and tight. Rebound popping out to number 2, Adrian Skro. But Skro, he just missed that one as it's dumped down the length of the ice. 40 seconds left to go in the power play for the Vaughan Kings.
Mike, sorry to cut you off again, Sammy. What a save from Nolan Hardy. We talked about how well the Marlboros have been able to get rid of those rebounds in front of the net that Hardy's been letting up. That was a fantastic clear from the Marlboros.
As there is a battle behind the net right now, we're unable to see it, but with 20 seconds left to go, it is the Vaughan Kings losing possession of the puck, and they are going for a change. It's Elaine and Fitzgerald heading on for the Vaughan Kings as the forwards on the end of this power play. 10 seconds left in this man advantage. Walking it in now are the Vaughan Kings. That's Skro cutting towards that. Skro fires this one off the pad as it pops all the way around as the penalty is over. Again, apologies for the camera work. Couldn't have come at a worse time as it pops out to the near side boards. McKegg on for the Vaughan Kings as it's the Kings going to walk the line, but they elect to just regain possession as McKegg, he cuts towards the middle on the backhand. Throwing this one over to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald, he has a lane down low. Elects to circle around instead. Fitzgerald, he didn't like that pass that he made as now the Marlboros, they control possession of the puck for the first time in this period. Walking in now is Mavru. Mavru, he has Herbert. Herbert on the near side boards, he circles around. Herbert looking for the far post. Pass to Rosh. Rosh, what a moment that would have been for him. Hat-trick and game-winning goal. Most certainly would have earned himself the coveted first star of the game. As walking in now are the Kings as they fire this one just off the pad of Nolan Hardy. Hardy just getting a piece of that one. That would have ended this game right quick. A great opportunity from the Kings walking in on the far side. The Kings, they gather it behind their own end. Walking it through the neutral zone are the Kings, trying to get something started. Haven't been able to push much in this overtime period so far as Rolston got that one across. At the line with it now, the Kings, trying to battle Skro back on for them. It's Cloutier. He sends it one across. Skro waiting for the pass there. Again, don't worry, folks, nothing happening here. As a battle ensues in the corner, as it's gone for a whistle, going to get a great drink of water there is Dimitri Stokes. I can't believe how poor this camera has been.
Insane. Of course. I feel like this has happened more now that we're in overtime. And, of course, why would it not happen in the most important time of the game? As it looks like this puck actually may have been deflected up and out of play as the faceoff is coming out of the zone.
I believe you are correct here. 1:54 remaining in the overtime period here. Let's take a look at the ref's great stance there because that's what's important right now. As it's the Vaughan Kings winning that faceoff forwards towards the zone. But the Marlboros, they regain possession as LeCastro, he drops that one down low. The Marlboros looking to get the offense started. Worth mentioning, now that the power play is over, we are back to 3-on-3. So it is indeed 3-on-3 overtime in the GTHL AAA division here. As it's the Marlboros looking to get something started on the near side boards. Walking in now are the Marlboros. The Marlboros with a chance to cut through. That was turned aside. It was Riley trying to get a pass over across, but it'll be the Marlboros forced to retreat in their own zone. Ashcroft, he has it at the blue line. Bring it down to the top of the circle. The Riley line on. Riley, he's calling for the pass for the breakaway, but that one doesn't get through. walking it over now. That's Mavru with it. Pardon me, LaCastro. Over to Mavru. Mavru finds Riley. Riley walking in. He has Mavru. Riley walking in, shooting, scores! Miles Riley ties the series at 1.
What a shot from Miles Riley. You see the Marlboros celebrating there, the Game 2 hero. Marlboros take this game by a score of 3-2. What a shot from Miles Riley, my goodness.
And what a perseverance effort here from the Marlboros down on the power play. And you can see Stokes, he really is disappointed that he didn't save that one. The Vaughan Kings giving him the taps. We'll talk more about it in the booth. Wow, what a game between the Kings and the Marlboros. 3-2 victory for Toronto in overtime. Series tied at 1, and that was another treat to watch.
It certainly was. That honestly might be one of the best games we've watched this season in the GTHL U16 AAA division. That's a bit of a mouthful. But the notion still remains that was a fantastic game of hockey. That game is what GTHL is all about.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's take a look at our 6 hockey 3 stars of the game.
That's right, Sammy. For our 3rd star of the game, we have to give some love to the Vaughan Kings. And our player to watch this game, Landon Rolston, is our 3rd star of the game. Marlboros go up 2-1. The Kings need to respond in a big way. And what does Landon Rolston do? How about walking it from his own end, not walking it, skating incredibly well, from his own end, scoring on Hardy in the offensive zone, obviously. 3rd star of the game, Landon Rolston, a great game for him. 2nd star of the game, how about Shane Roche? Defenseman scoring 2 goals, one on the power play to break the game open for the Marlboros, and the second one to put them up by 1. My goodness, what a fantastic game from Shane Roche. Someone you don't hear about too often, especially in the offensive zone, but clearly his presence was felt throughout this entire game. 1st star has to be the game-winning hero, Miles Riley. What a fantastic OT winner that was when, Marlboros looked at each other and say, hey, we're either going to get scored on and go down 2-0, or we're going to get a hero in this game. And Miles Riley steps up to the plate and is that hero for the Marlboros. 1st star of the game for Miles Riley.
That's right. I mean, that shot is the difference between having your back against the wall and now being in a best-of-3 series, and that's exactly where we are now. Best of 3. Game 3 coming up soon, but we'll have to wait until next time. Until then, I've been Sammy Brzozowski. He's been Simon Hendricks. Have a good afternoon, evening, and you know what? Have a good morning as well.
On a breakaway, scores!
Big hit at the blue line.
And he got waffle boarded. What a save!
He shoots, he scores.
Drives in, score!
This is the 6 hockey.